Okay, I'm recording.
Okay, so thank you all very much for coming and joining with us today. So my name is Jay, and Paul is also here. And we're going to divide this training into two parts. The first is going to be just Zoom in general for people as guests or just, when you're in meetings. And I'm going to do that part. And then we're going to stop. I mean, you can, if I say something you don't understand, please feel free to ask questions as we go along. But after I finish talking, we'll stop and you can ask questions on anything I talked about or anything on Zoom, using Zoom that you're in, that you want answered. And then the second half, Paul's going to talk about specific issues or things, methods that you can use to create meetings and put them on the calendar, and things you can do as a host, that because many of you will be hosting these meetings as we go along. So to start with, though, look at your names. And Paul, you didn't change your name yet. You're still listed as San Diego 350. So our SD 350 standard is that you put your first name, and you can use your last name or initial, if especially if there's more than one person with that first name, and then your pronouns. Okay, and so if you hover your mouse over beside your name, either looking at the little tiles on the window, or if you have the participants up, which we'll cover later. But anywhere where you see your name, if you hover your mouse, you should see either 3 dots or more or something. If you click on that, then you'll see the rename come up as one of the options. You click on that, and then you can type in and put in, change your name to whatever is appropriate. And I see most people have done that. That's good. I'll wait for a couple more. Elaine, are you having any issues with this? And Elizabeth?
I'm just doing it.
Oh, okay, good. So everybody but Elaine has gotten this. Okay, so while Elaine's doing that, the other preliminary thing is, if you look in the upper right of the main window, you will either see the word speaker view or like a grid of like 9 dots, which is gallery view. So basically click on those back and forth so you can see the difference, right? So gallery view lets you see everybody, like, Brady Bunch style, so you can see pretty much everybody at once. Speaker view has a big window for the speaker, and that's good for like webinars where there's one speaker, especially if they're gonna share their screens. You want to see what their screen or a whiteboard is. We'll go over that soon. But if you want to see that more clearly, then speaker view is good, because then you can only see some of the people in the strip, and there's an option you can move the speaker view either along the top or on the side, but generally it's along the top. And you will see the speaker, the person speaking usually gets put in the first position so that everybody can see them. And then you will see yourself in the next position, and then maybe somebody that's spoken recently will be down there, and then other people, though, they just sort of fall off the end of the edge. Okay, so those are basic things, name and speaker view. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go along the bottom row of all the various controls. And you'll see it's hard to do this, but in my background, I've actually got this, above my head. And this will not exactly correspond to what you're seeing, because it depends on your role, what commands are available to you. So like hosts, we have like an option for polling. And there's some things you can, and I think I have one that says security. I'm not sure if you guys can see one that says security, but anyways, there's some general ones that everybody can see. We're gonna go to that, and we're gonna go from left to right. Sort of in order. So the very first one on the bottom left, it says, in mine, it says mute, because I am speaking and I'm not muted. Sorry, I clicked on it, but then I muted myself, so that's not good. If you click on that, then it'll switch, put a line through it, and it'll show that you're muted, and then you can click on it again to unmute yourself. Okay, so that's sort of a basic control. You also have that control if you put your mouse over, again, the tile with your window, or if you have the participants up, there's also another, if you hover your mouse over there, there's also another button that goes mute and unmute that you can use to mute yourself. So there's lots of different ways that you can mute yourself. And something I learned recently is that if you're muted and you hold down the space bar, that will unmute you. So it's sort of like a walkie-talkie. So we don't use that very often, but if you want to just quickly, if you're muted and you want to quickly say something, that should work. I've actually not tried that, but that's supposed to work for muting. Okay, so next to mute, there'll be a little up arrow. Okay, so click on your up arrow, and that's going to bring up a menu. And our menus are all going to be a little bit different. But basically, that's going to give you a choice of selecting. So I'll tell you what I see, but so yours might look a little different. So my first one is select a microphone. And I have a couple of microphones plugged into my system. So the one that I'm using is checked, but I could switch. Then select a speaker, same thing. You'll have, if you have more than one, there might be an option. You can click on that to switch. Then there's some useful things below. So you can test your speaker and microphone if you're not sure if you're hooked up and it's working. Switch to phone audio if your computer's not working. Then they'll turn off your computer and you'll have to call in by phone and leave computer audio. I think I'm not sure what the difference between those two is. And then audio settings at the bottom will pop up another window that shows all sorts of things, including like a little, a line that shows my mic level. So as I'm speaking, it goes up and down. So for mine, it's showing on mic. For yours, it should show that for speaker. And you can adjust the output volumes and levels and things like that. Okay, and so these are all useful things. I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to leave my settings up because we're going to get, you can leave those up because we'll be looking at some of the other settings soon. So that's it for audio. Audio is obviously very important. Again, standard practice is, especially if there's any noise in your background, to mute yourself when you're not speaking, because if there's noise or if you're trying to type something, we will hear that, it'll come through because basically the Zoom is only single duplex, which means that it only can take one audio at a time. And basically it does that by picking the loudest. So whoever's the loudest, that's gonna win. So if the speaker pauses and there's a little bit of noise from somebody else, that'll be louder than my silence in my, in the pause of my speaking. So all of a sudden that might come through. And you'll often see that for people that aren't muted, that especially the speaker is outlined. I have in mine, it's a green box around me because I'm speaking, and you'll see that box bounce around to different people if Zoom thinks that they're the loudest at the moment, and it sort of gives them audio control. So that's why it's useful to mute yourself so you don't take that over by accident. Okay, so I think that's it for audio. Next is video. So I am showing my video. So my icon next to that says stop video. And if I clicked on that, then it would say start video. Most of these things are flip-flops. It'll switch from one to the other. And so that's it for video. And then if you click the little right arrow next to that, you have similar options for choosing a camera if you have more than one. On mine, I have choose virtual background. So I can choose, I switched my background. I have this weird yellow thing behind me with the commands in it. And then I have video settings, which is, again, it's very similar to audio settings. It'll bring up pop up a window that'll show you various audio settings. Okay, I'm going to pause there because those are two really important things. Anybody have any questions on any of those?
Jay, I have a question.
Yeah.
When that pop-up thing under stop video, there's a, whoops, now I can't, I can't do it with the space bar down. That's interesting because I'm talking with the space bar, but anyway.
You just muted yourself.
Okay. Yeah, no, because I was using the space bar. So now I can do it. The video settings, there's a thing here says, oh my, yeah, mirror my video. Do you know what that means?
Yes, it does something weird. It'll actually mirror that on your screen on your computer, and it usually doesn't look. It doesn't do what you anything useful. Is what I
think
found.
it just changes the way you see yourself in your image.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
It looks like you're looking into a mirror. I just tried it yesterday, and that's what I
I'm
thought.
sorry. Thank you, Rich. You're right. I forgot. I was thinking of something else. So Zoom is actually reversing things. So, I'm holding up my left hand, but it's on the right-hand side of the screen because if there's things written behind you, that's the only way to get it correct. So if you click that and mirror it, it goes back to the right way around. But in the screen, as people see it, it becomes reversed. So it's better to leave the default. But if for some reason somebody's holding up something and it's mirror imaged and you can't read it, then they should mirror it so it'll come back the right way around. But Zoom normally does the right thing.
And that's in video settings, is that right?
Yes, the little up arrow next to video. You click on video settings and where is that?
Oh,
I don't
mirror
actually,
my video, is that it?
yeah, I don't see that on mine.
Oh,
But again, Zoom, Zoom is very,
think
I
it's
say,
an
not everybody
audio.
sees the same thing always, so.
I think it's in audio settings also.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Mirror- At the bottom.
I'm
mirror
looking at the
my
wrong thing. I
video.
was looking at audio settings. So I didn't click on the thing. I was looking at audio settings. Sorry. Yes, under video settings, in my video, the second one down is mirror my video.
right, thank you.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of other settings. I have more controls. I have controls on meetings. I can actually click on something that, well, maybe everybody has this, but you can hide the no, I think everybody has this. Hide non-video participants. So you can make your, make your gallery view. If you click on that, let me try that. Yeah, so if you click on that, it gets rid of because we have a bunch of people that aren't on video. So it removes them, which means everybody else's image that does have video gets a little larger, so you can see more of their face. So that actually is somewhat useful. Okay, any other questions on audio or video? Okay, moving on. So next I have something called
Hey, Jay?
security. Yeah, go ahead.
Jay, I do have one question, and I can settle it with you later. For some reason or other, on many Zoom calls, my microphone registers as not registering. And that's why I've called in with that separate phone number down there that's highlighted in green, yellow now.
Right, yes, I know that you do that often.
And I don't know why that happens, and I can talk to you about it later because I don't think it's a problem for anyone else. I just want to let you know I'd like to talk to you about it, just in case you know something about it.
It's fine, but I don't know the answer, so we're gonna have to try to, work it out.
Okay, thank you.
Because I know that other people have had that issue, but I've never seen it and I don't know how to solve it. But we can try and
Okay,
figure
great.
it out.
Sure, thanks.
Okay, so next, my next button is security, but I don't think you people have that because I think that's for the hosts. So under my security, I can lock the meeting, enable a waiting room. I can do things for I can turn off so that participants can't see the chat or can't rename themselves. I don't know why you'd want to do that. More importantly, I can remove a participant. All right, so if you're a host, and Paul will talk about some of these issues, you can remove somebody if they've Zoom bombed, which is unlikely, into that. So that's security. The next one is participants. So if you haven't, please click on that, and that will show you the list of all the participants in the meeting, similar to the tiles in the video part, but it's yet one more control, and it's a way of seeing things, seeing who's there. And again, you'll have those controls to mute yourself, and then this other button that gives you more commands. So that's just a way of seeing everybody that's there, especially if there's a lot of people and you're in speaker view. It's a good way of seeing everybody that's there.
Jay,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt you. So I've had problems. I pulled that up and then I have problems getting rid of it. And right now I'm still kind of forgetting how to get rid of it. Do you remember how you get rid of that?
Yes. So in the upper left of the participants, there's a down arrow. If you click on that, then you have three choices: close, minimize, or pop out. So close is how you get rid of it. Minimize, shrinks it down, and pop out brings it out as a separate window so you can put it somewhere else on your screen. Thank you. That's a good question. And that menu also applies to chat, which is the next thing along the bottom. So if you haven't please click on the next button, the next icon, which is chat, and that'll bring you into a chat window. And if you also have participants, it'll share that with participants. And there's also, again, another down arrow on the upper left. Yes, thank you, Phil, for sending a message. Again, there's that arrow in the upper left has, again, close, minimize, pop out, so you can manipulate that little chat window. And then by default, if you look at the bottom now, you'll see that Phil's message, he typed to everyone. That's the one that's there. But if you click on the down arrow there, now you'll get a scrolling menu that allows you to select anybody, any individual that's in the meeting, and then you can send private messages to that person. Says everyone. Click on that. Yes, and also in the participants, that when it says, if you click on the more next to the name of somebody else in the participants window, the first element in there says chat, and that will if you select that, then it bounces you down to the chat window, and you can send a private message to that person. So either way, you can get to the person, type your message in there, and get to that person. And now on the bottom, on the right, there are 3 dots. So if you click on that, you'll again get another menu with some information. Then there's save chat. So be aware that anybody can save the chat, and that's everybody's chat, not just, and somebody said that even includes some private messages. I haven't verified that. But anyways, like anything you do in public, be careful of what you type or say or do, because it might get recorded. And I have a control that allows who participants can chat with. So hosts have some controls to restrict chatting if they want. Okay, so that's chatting.
Jay, I have, it's not a problem because for me, I can operate any of these things. I have the minimize on the full screen and the close. But if I do anything like minimize, the whole window goes off. It's not only the chat or participants. Just wanted to let you know.
Huh. Well, I just did it, and when I did minimize on my chat, it basically, I have the word chat at the bottom of that window, and an arrow that I can click on to bring it back, but it didn't minimize everything, just the chat part. So I don't know why yours did that. I don't know. Does anybody else have that behavior? When you click on the minimize, it minimizes everything? No. So yeah, say Zoom is idiosyncratic. So I don't have an answer for that, Jay. Okay, next is.
Sorry, I'm asking too many questions.
Well, actually, Phil, hold on for a second. Susan has raised her hand. Susan, you have a question. Susan, you're muted.
Sorry, I was muted. Can you explain these little, so I raised my hand using this little circle that I see under the list of participants, and I think most of them make sense. If you ask everybody a question, you could click yes or no, but what is go slower and go faster? Is that a message to the host, like hurry up, or what is that?
Yes, thank you. Actually, thank you for mentioning that. I forgot that. So under the participants, there's a bunch of other little windows that you can click on that will do various things. And so yeah, there's yes,
you
no.
You mean icons, Dave.
Sorry.
Icons, not windows.
Sorry, yes, icons. Sorry, thank you. Icons. So yeah, yes and no, like you can do like visual votes. Go slower and go faster. Yes, that is information to the speaker that you want them to go faster. And I see that somebody else is clicking on it. So I don't know if you all see it, but I see a number above that to tell me the number of people. So who want to go faster and want to go slower. So you could compromise that.
So maybe that only shows up to the speaker because I don't see.
Okay, so yeah, then that's either the host or the speaker sees that. Paul, do you see those numbers?
Yes, I see them.
Okay, so the hosts, all the hosts can see those numbers.
Yeah,
And then and there's more under the more, one sec, Beth, under the more, there's a few more icons, thumbs up, thumbs down, clapping hands, coffee. Well, if you hover your mouse, it shows you what it's supposed to be. Coffee says need a break, and the clock means away. So if you're going to walk out of a meeting to go to the restroom or get a drink, then you could click on that, and then the host could see that that was selected. Sorry, Beth, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I can see the people who said go slower and go faster under participants.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you can see it on the list of participants.
Right.
Yeah, you don't see it on the screen where the pictures are.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And so I just clicked the coffee cup just to test it out. And that, yeah, that shows up under my name, but it doesn't show up on the screen. Okay.
Yeah, but I see a 1 under. I see a 1 above the coffee cup. Oh, now there's a 2. Now there's a 1. So yes, so the host can see that.
And so also you on it again, it takes it off. It's a toggle thing.
Yes, again, yes, it's a flip flop. Except as the host, I have a button that's called Clear All, and so I just cleared everything.
Can you,
So
can
Jay,
you- Jay, can you tell us where these icons are? I don't see any icons.
So click on the participants icon on the bottom, and then look at the bottom of the participants little side window. Yes, there's like a yes with a check, green yes,
What side window?
red
Where
no.
is the side window?
Well, do you see participants? Do you see the names of everybody?
Yeah,
And look at the right, look below the names. What do you see below the names?
nothing.
Nothing?
Can you scroll down?
I did scroll down.
Huh. Well, another Zoom idiosyncrasy.
Okay.
Well, that's where I see it, is at the bottom. Yeah, and that's where that's where the rest of us are seeing it, is at the bottom of that participants sub window. Elaine, you could try like popping it out, try those other things, and separating it out. Maybe that might help to see them. They're not critical. We don't use them very much in SD350. So I'm sorry. And somebody else had a question?
yeah, Jay, I had a question. What's the difference between the thumbs up and the clapping?
Yeah, I don't, in terms of how they're used, I think it's just convention. But one difference is all the things under the participants, you have to turn them off, right? So you turn them on, you turn them off, and they're persistent. Whereas if you go to, so now we're jumping ahead. So we're now looking at reactions. So in your bottom controls on the far right, it says reaction, and then there's like a clapping hand and a thumbs up, and you can select those, but those are temporary. So after a certain amount of time, those just disappear on their own. And that's the only.
And what's the difference in the meaning of clapping and thumbs up?
I say they're social conventions. It's whatever the group decides. They're just things that
Oh,
Zoom
okay.
provides. They don't do anything to the program. They're just visual aids, and you can decide. We can decide that thumbs up means, I don't know, you like the speaker.
Approve?
You like the speaker, and and clapping means, I don't know, you like the work, you like life. I don't know, whatever you want.
This kind of information kind of indicates that sometimes it's very helpful to have somebody who's not the speaker just paying attention to the chat and the participants, because you're not gonna, there's too much going on. So you'll decide that in your groups how you want to use these things.
Yeah, good, excellent points.
So it's actually, people have used it for, in many meetings, people have vibe watchers. That means they watch the vibe of the audience. And so
Right.
they agree upon the symbols, and somebody watches those.
Yes, I mean, very good. Yes, you can use them for anything you want. And I'm saying even in this meeting, we have enough people that I can't, in my participants window, I can't see everybody all at once. So, if there's too many people, and if you're doing something even on your screen, like doing a thumbs up, you may or may not, see that. So it's just a good way. And as people have mentioned, if somebody is observing that, it's an easy way to get feedback from the audience, especially when there's large numbers of people. For that. And Paul will talk a bit about using chat and stacks and things to help control meetings in his section. Okay, so
Hey, Jay, Jay, it says we had 17 participants. So why can't you see all 17 on your screen?
No, I can't. There's so many that I can't see them in my participants window because it's the size. I have to scroll. I can see them all, but I can't see them all at once unless I scroll. And since I'm talking, I don't have the time to sit and scroll the list all the time. That's all.
Right.
Whereas I can, I can look at that bottom and I can see if there's any numbers above those little icons. That's easier to spot.
Jay,
Yes, Phil.
maybe Paul's going to cover this, but at the bottom of chat, the ... is merged to meeting window. I assume that's so everybody can see the chat. Have you used that? Is that useful in any way?
I don't have that command.
I don't have it either.
No, I bet you, really? I mean, it's just, so it's under Zoom chat, 3 dots at the bottom,
Right.
and to everyone sort of section, click on the 3 dots at the bottom, merge to meeting window. You don't have that?
Click on it, Phil. Let's see what it does.
I have it.
Now, I've got it off to the side, but does everybody else see it?
Yeah, I don't see it. I'm saying, please click on, please.
No, I did. And so all that happened is it popped up on the right-hand side.
Oh, well, it didn't do anything for me.
No,
Okay, that's weird.
What,
yeah, I don't have it either.
I don't have it.
Sorry. I'm just special.
I'm wondering, maybe it's because you clicked the message? No.
Well, Phil logged in as the host, and then the other 2 are co-hosts, so he probably has different screens.
Well, actually, that's very true. The host actually has some things that the co-hosts don't. And
Yeah,
since
whoever
Phil came on, joined the meeting first, that means that he actually has some privileges that Paul and I don't have. And we learned that the hard way, that when Phil left the meeting as host, even though there were co-hosts, the meeting just ended. So yes, hosts, as I say, the hosts have different, hosts have one level, co-hosts have another level of things, and then guests rather, have another level of commands.
But I have that same command and it did the same thing on my screen for me as it did for Phil.
yeah, that's interesting. What kind of, yeah.
But Liz, you're a guest, so I don't, that
Right.
you just blew my theory all out the window there.
Sorry about that. I'm on PC. Does that have anything? Is that a possibility?
Anything's possible, but I don't know.
It could be a version.
I'm on PC. If I press the 3 buttons, I get only save chat.
Yeah, that's normal for a guest. Okay, well, I say we're not going to solve every Zoom mystery tonight, this afternoon. Okay, so next I'm going along now. So after chat, the next icon on the bottom is share screen. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with
Jay,
you. Yes.
Before you go on, when it says save chat, how long does it save it for?
Forever, because it's going to save it. It's going to save it into a file on your computer. So it's
Okay,
whatever you
great.
do with it.
Right. Okay, thanks.
Okay,
And
so
you know where that file is, Jay?
I think it'll give you a choice of where to put. I'm on a Mac, so it might be different than on a PC. But when I do those things, it pops up my my Finder, which is how I manipulate files, and it gives me a choice of
right.
where to put it.
Okay, thanks.
I just tried it and it didn't do that. It says chat saved, and then there's a showing folder button that you can push. I guess that would show you where it is.
Oh yeah, on a Mac, yes, that will.
No, it's a PC that I'm on.
Oh well, you don't have a Finder, but anyways, that's Mac
Folder,
terminology.
Folder.
Oh,
Showing
folder. Sorry, folder. So yes, I'm sorry, folder. Yes, that'll show you where it is. So it has a
Right.
default location, and
Yeah.
probably in your preferences is a way of setting what that default is if you want.
It puts it in a folder called Zoom under Documents.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes, that's
the default.
Date and time.
yeah, that's where Zoom would. You're right. Sorry, that's where Zoom normally would put things. Okay, so well, speaking of finders, okay, so here I'm showing you my Finder. Actually, that's probably not a very good example.
Right click it will.
Oh, here. Where's my calculator? Okay. So basically, when I did that, all of a sudden all my zoom goes away. Okay, so you have to be aware of this. But my calculator, which is just basically the window on my screen, now is being shared with all of you. Okay, and so the main thing I wanted to go along though is at the top of your screen now, you should have some information about the share. So mine says you are sharing screen. Yours should say something like screen being shared by me, by Jay.
Yeah.
And then there are other things that you can do with that, which isn't very useful on a calculator, but one of the things you can share is a whiteboard. And so I will share this. And you can actually annotate that. So if you click down, I think you have a menu. I see it's different from me because I'm the one that's sharing, but if you click down on the menu next to that share information at the top of your screen, I think annotate is one of the commands. So you can click on that and feel free to type and draw on my my screen.
I don't see the annotate, Jay. Where is it again? View options, maybe?
Can one of the guests tell Michael what exactly they see? Because it's going to be different for you.
Yes. I see it.
Jay, how do you get to the whiteboard?
You are in the white.
You should be seeing the whiteboard on the main
Yeah.
Zoom window.
Yeah, I do see it, but if I were the host, how would I put a whiteboard up?
Oh, you do sharing. When you do sharing, when you click the sharing icon on the bottom of the screen, when you click on that, it's going to pop up a window that has basically every window on your computer listed, so you can choose which of your windows you want to share. Plus, there's an option that's whiteboard that's right at the beginning, and you just click on the word that's, you know, the little, it's a white icon or a white tile, and you click on whiteboard, and then that pops up the whiteboard as a special window.
Thank you.
I didn't follow where that whiteboard option is.
It's under screen. It's under the share in the screen sharing. But have you been able to get to the whiteboard yet? My whiteboard?
Yes, definitely. I've
Okay.
even drawn on it.
Okay. Well,
how do you draw on it again? I'm sorry, I can't find this is Jennifer. I can't find the drawing tool.
Okay, on mine,
Yeah,
you see view options. If you have a view options thing, then you can click on the arrow and it has something under that, the next menu, it says annotate. And that'll make it so you can add to the whiteboard.
okay. Did that work for you? Good. Okay. So one thing that I've selected, and there's one thing that we share, is I think on yours it's just going to say arrow. So yes. So there's only one arrow. So if you click on arrow, then and you click on it, then your name will appear. But as Phil already grabbed it there, Barbara. So there's one arrow, and that way, you know, we can share pointing to something. So if there's something on the whiteboard, if you click on the arrow and then click next to something, then you've taken over the arrow, and then that's good. There's only one, so everybody can look at whatever that person is clicking on. We're all doing it at once. It bounces around a lot, but you can see how it could be useful in an actual meeting.
Wow.
I don't think so.
Okay, I still don't see how to get the whiteboard that I can then screen share.
Okay, so wait 1 second, because at the moment nobody else can do it. So okay, so I just stopped sharing mine. So now, Michael, go to the bottom of your screen, click on the icon that says share screen, and that should pop up a window. And one of the choices there should be the whiteboard. So please go ahead. You can have
host disabled participant screen sharing.
Sorry?
It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay, so there's a host command so I have a right arrow next to share screen that has some commands. So by default, this meeting only allowed the host to share their screen, which is good for security. So I just turned that off. So you should be able to share. You should be able to work. You should be able to share your screen now.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, it says whiteboard. So I just click on that.
Click on it.
And then share it. There it is. Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, so Michael, he just ended it. Okay,
So,
so
Yes, I
that was
did.
screen. So yes, a question?
yeah, how do you set it by default to side-by-side mode, where you have the whiteboard or the presentation, whatever's being screen shared on one side, and then the video on the other?
Well, the video goes away. When somebody's sharing their screen, the main video disappears and you get that little slide, the slideshow on the side. So is that what, I mean, you can't see, when somebody's sharing their screen, you can't see the full video with all the tiles.
Well,
What you're going to see is the shared screen or whiteboard, and then a strip on the side that has the tiles of the people.
okay. And then the strip on the side is not overlapping the shared screen.
Correct. Well, in mine, it doesn't. Was yours overlapping?
Depends on the view that you have selected. If you have side-by-side mode, then they don't overlap. If you don't have side-by-side mode, then the video can float over and cover some of the slides. And so I'm wondering, once someone shares a screen, if you can control how people see it so that there's a slider.
Well, I think you're supposed to. I think you're supposed to be able to control your own setup. So I think there should be a control that allows you to switch between those two.
Yeah, I can, but as a host, can you the default?
Yeah, no, the host. That's something the host doesn't control.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Scott, what did you mean by side-by-side view? I don't see that anywhere yet.
When someone shares their screen, they're next to that drop down for like annotate. It also has a view drop down, and then the last choice was side-by-side.
Okay, great. And that comes up only when someone's sharing a screen. Is that right?
That's the only time I've seen it. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. We're getting almost done. So the next command I have is polling, which you can't see because only hosts can start the polls, but Paul's going to talk about that. Then there's recording. So you can actually make your own recordings of these meetings. And I don't know if this is legal in California because we have a two-party consent system legally here. And so you're not supposed to record people without letting them know. So I'm not sure what Zoom does about that, but you can probably see that it's being recorded now because both Paul and I are recording this. Can everybody see, does it say recording for everybody?
No, what it says for me is it just says, please request recording permission from the meeting host.
Yeah, that's what mine says.
Okay, so yeah, so you can't, I guess you can't record, but Paul and I are recording it.
Excuse me, Jay.
Yes.
This is Jennifer. Before you leave the screen share, I have a question about sharing audio, which I tried to do last week during a meeting, and I know that you have to do it right when you start screen share, but I couldn't find how to share my computer audio. Do you know how to do that?
Well, that's just under the audio control. Your computer and your audio is on that control over on the far left with the mutes and selecting, which is your input. So if your sound was coming from a different place, then you would select that in that up arrow on the left-hand side. So I don't think that's different than sharing your screen.
But somehow when you screen share, if you want your audio to come through, like if you're going to play a video on your computer, you somehow have to click something before, as you're screen sharing.
Jennifer, I see a button for that called Share Computer Sound on the bottom left of the window that pops up when you click on Share.
Okay, bottom left, and it's, oh, I see it. Okay, good. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Great.
Very good. I did not know that because I never tried to share a video, but thank you.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. Okay, as I say, so I'm over on the right-hand side. The last icon is reactions, and we've already talked about that. So that's the hand clapping and the thumbs up. Okay, so we got Michael's whiteboard for a second there. Okay, so
yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. But again, if you find somebody in your audience is doing things like that you don't want, the host can turn off, right? I had to turn that ability on. I could turn it off again if somebody was, not being good about that. So generally, you don't want people to be randomly sharing their screen. Okay, so that is all the icons on the bottom. So now we're at the end of the first section. Are there any other questions about this again, or anything else about using Zoom as opposed to, controlling it and doing things as a host?
Yeah, Jay.
Yeah.
JJ, go ahead.
I have a very quick question. Since a lot was said about a host, who is a host? For example, if you are a Zoom host for the 350, let's say Zoom host is the general term, but you have booked a meeting through our 350 Zoom site. The person who has booked the room or booked the Zoom, is that the person, the host?
Okay, so Paul's going to go over this in more detail in just a couple of minutes, but we have some confusing terminology because Zoom host is sort of the obvious term for the person that's hosting the Zoom meeting. Unfortunately, well, I don't know, unfortunately, but the name of the account that we share, because we have only like one account for Zoom, is called Zoom host. So it's the ST350 logs in as Zoom host. So if you are logged in as Zoom host, right? So if you notice in this meeting that Phil is not really a host, but if you look next to his name, you'll see that he's the host because he's logged in as Zoom host. And you can see that if you look on the participants window next to his name and also mine and Paul's, you'll see the little ST350 logo, which means that we are logged in on that zoom.us website as the Zoom host before we entered this meeting. So that means we're all, and we can have multiple hosts, and it's because we've logged into that account in our browser. It's in a different tab, but it's in our browser where we started this meeting. So any of those people are Zoom hosts, and so like you could be a Zoom host in somebody else's meeting. So it's not just the person that created the meeting, it's anybody that logs in that way. And then Paul, this is a good segue to Paul, is going to talk about how you create a meeting as Zoom host so that it can be available. But before we get to that, I think with Phil, we had another question.
Yeah, I did. So one thing that's come up a lot in meetings already is working with a Google Doc and somebody taking notes on the Google Doc.
Yeah.
And the thing of being able to see the notes that are being taken, right? So, because I think that can only happen if the person taking the notes is the one that shared the Google Doc. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And then everybody would see the notes that are being taken. But for instance, if they leave a meeting early, then they have to close that out. Somebody else has to share it and start taking, I mean, just a hypothetical, right?
Right, so you always have the option of either, so you have a Google Doc, and then you kind of just give everybody the link right in the chat window. You could paste the link in the chat window. People could click on that, and then in a separate window in their browser, they could be looking at that document as the Google document. And that's the way you can share it. And again, if somebody's going to leave, then they should obviously give the link to somebody else and do that. Now, we have sometimes with big meetings, we have permission issues and things like that because we have it generally set up that certain people have permissions to look at various documents. And so if you just give the link, some people may not have permission to look at the documents, and it's going to cause time to, stop and give them permission and things like that. So it's easier to just share it so that everybody can see it. But that means you're sort of limited, and it's also limited that you're going to see whatever that person has. So like if you want to scroll, right? Often when we're in Zoom meetings, I want to look at something else in the document that's not on the screen. But so if I have the link and I'm looking at the document, I can scroll up and down and find a different part of the document to read than what is shown on the screen. So I actually prefer to be looking at the document, in a separate window. But I have two screens on my computer. I have lots of screen real estate. If you don't have a lot of screen, if you're looking at it on a small laptop, then it might be better to more preferable for you to see it in the Zoom window. But again, that you have those two choices.
Jay,
Yes.
can maybe I missed this in what you just said, but we had in the Ledge team, we had a situation just this week about someone suddenly said, I invited so-and-so to the meeting, but she doesn't have access. And how do you give access? We're looking at a Google document. How do you give access while you're running the meeting?
Okay, so are you talking about access to the document or to the meeting?
Document, I guess. Well, the meeting I gave her the link to the.
Okay, so she was in the meeting.
She wasn't in the meeting. No. So it's the meeting.
Yeah, it was.
But I had sent her the link to the agenda and the Zoom information.
Well, people get confused. Maybe she clicked on the document and not the Zoom link, and that she didn't end up in the Zoom meeting. So anyways, I actually have, as a host, I have a button here under the participants that says invite. So I can actually invite, I have a way to invite somebody if you're the host, you can invite something. And so when I clicked on that, I have a contact list or email. So basically I can.
Under the participant list?
Sorry?
Where is this under
you can't, I
participant?
said, as a host, you cannot see this now. I'm explaining what I can see.
And it's under the participant list?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, it's at the bottom, underneath those icons. The yes, no, go slower, go faster. I have another row of commands, and the first one is invite.
Oh.
Then I have a mute all, unmute all, and I have a more that gives me even more commands. I can reclaim hosts if I want to try and fight Phil for it. I can, there's basically there's some various host commands here. So a host can do that as an invitation, but the other thing to do is, especially if the host is busy and somebody else has it, is to get somebody to just send that person the email link again. And because they're going to get it by email either way, and just send them a message with just the link so they can't get confused by the other things that may have been in the original message, and hope that they can find it this time.
Okay, Scott's got a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Participants can also use that invite button in the participant list. It shows up whether you're the host or not.
Okay.
So if you click on that and invite, and then there's a button that says copy invite link, and it'll give you a link that you can paste whatever message.
Okay, so Elaine, can you see the invite button?
Yeah, I see it.
Oh, okay, sorry. So I just figured because it was next to mute all, which I assumed was a host command. That
So you have to click on the person and then click invite.
No, click on invite, and then you're going to put the email address of the person that's going to send them an email message.
Oh,
And as Scott pointed out, at the bottom of that window that pops up, there's a copy invite link, copy invitation. There are things you can stick in the email message. Right, but Zoom has no way of knowing who that person is. So all Zoom can do is send them an email message. You're going to give them their email address.
Okay, great.
Okay.
All right, wonderful.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Paul now.
All right. So what I'm going to do is show you a method. It's probably not the only way to do this, but it's one that they described. So there is a document that you probably all got on how to create a meeting. I'm mostly just going to kind of go through that, but this will be visual so you can see what's going on. So to start out creating a meeting, what I'll do is share my screen with you. First off.
He's going to share his screen.
Okay, can you see my calendar?
yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
This is a recommended method for setting up a Zoom meet or setting up a Zoom meeting, San Diego 350. So one of the key things you want to do when you do this is you want to bring in the Zoom. Let me get my annotation going. Where's my annotation? Oh, here it is. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, do you see this calendar over here? The San Diego 350 Zoom calendar?
Yeah.
You want to make sure you've brought that into your calendar. So that what we don't want to do, since we only have one account, we don't want to overlay to create a meeting that interrupts somebody else's Zoom meeting. So it's best to have this calendar up. Let me clear this. And then go ahead and pick a time that you see that there's not going to be any kind of an interruption. So I'll just start one here at 7 o'clock today. Now you can put this sometime in the future, whenever you want to do it. I'll just set it up for now. Okay, so as I said, you want to make sure you're using the right calendar. So I'm going to change this to the Zoom calendar and give this, set up my name, guest Zoom meeting, and set up the date, add your guests, what have you. So we can add guests here, but what I like to do is like to go to more options. So, whoops, let me clear this. Okay. So once I'm in more options, I can add guests. I can let's just put Sada, and then so I have my guests, I have my time. I can set up whether it's a repeating calendar. You guys, this is just basic calendar information. But the key, what we want to do here is we want to make it a Zoom meeting. So I have this option here to make it a Zoom meeting. Everyone see that?
What else could it be, Paul?
You could just set up a meeting. This could be a meeting where you're actually meeting at the office. You know, that San Diego.
Oh, I see. I see. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So I hit this button to set up a Zoom meeting. And if nothing happens, okay. So it brings up the options for Zoom. Now, there are cases, if you haven't logged on as Zoom host, it'll just kind of stop, won't do anything. So then you just bring up Zoom. Open up a browser window and go to zoom.us and log on as Zoom host, which is in the instructions that you should. There's a link in the agenda.
Oh.
Here, let me go to that. So if we go to the agenda, can you see my agenda?
Yeah.
Okay, see the Zoom host training? So this right here is a link to the San Diego 350 instructions for how to use Zoom host and things like that.
I just put that link in the chat.
Okay, so you should have a link to this. You should have received this agenda as part of the email and meeting invite. You see, I'm talking about this right here. Okay. Okay, then let me go back to what I was doing. So we're back to calendar. You want to make sure that you always require a password. This is a new. We didn't used to. This wasn't something we felt we needed to do, but we do now. A lot of people are using Zoom. A lot of people are starting to be funny guys and interrupt people's meetings and things. So this is a level of security that San Diego 350 wants us to use. So there's basically, there shouldn't be much you have to do in here. What I'm doing now is just a one-time meeting. It's going to generate a meeting ID for me. It's going to generate a password, and then I just hit continue. Now, once I hit continue, all the information, I thought participate, continue. Okay, maybe if I save this. Wait a second, this did not do what it was supposed to do for me. So let's go back to make a Zoom meeting. What is going on? Okay, hang on one second.
Paul?
Yeah.
I do wonder if you have to save. When you clicked save, you dismissed it, so you maybe didn't really save it. What if you try clicking save again, and this time not invite people, but I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but.
Well, let me just try logging as a Zoom host again.
Paul, you're missing an E in San Diego.
Thank you.
Those people that asked for file permission, document permission, I've given them to you.
Okay, let me try this again. Make this a Zoom meeting. I said continue. Okay, there we go. Okay, for some reason, I guess I wasn't logged in as Zoom host. So all the information for the Zoom meeting now has been added to my meeting invite.
Paul?
Yeah.
I have scheduled meetings before. I have not had to log in as a Zoom host. Through the calendar. I don't know why this happened.
Yeah, I don't either. I was surprised by that because I was logged in as Zoom host. That's how I started this meeting. Or maybe I was I don't know. That was an interesting situation. So anyhow, so all my Zoom information is in here. And you can see the meeting ID, the password here. And this up above will be the link. A lot of people just use the link. Okay, so the other thing we'd like to do, we're trying, is to also include the agenda for your meeting in this meeting invite. So I generally just go to the document, copy and paste that into the calendar information. And then you can go ahead and save, and then you can send this out. Now, I can send this will send it to anybody I've put on the invite list, and it'll send out all this information. So you've now created your meeting within the calendar. I'm gonna dismiss this because it's just a test meeting. Well, I guess I could leave it, but is that okay? So I'll dismiss this, and this will generate something that looks like Well, you saw it because I sent it all to you. So it'll be something that looks like this. And all this information gets passed along. So you have the meeting agenda, you'll have all the Zoom information, and this will go out, the meeting invite will go out to all the people you've listed. The other thing that is recommended, since a lot of people don't look at the well, why don't I go, I'm going to go ahead and send this. Jay, you're going to get this email, so on the side, that'll be all right. Okay, so now I have my event. It's here. I know I'm not overlapping any other Zoom meetings. The other thing that I like to do is also send out an email, because some people ignore the meeting invites. And the email is pretty easy to do. If you just open up that meeting, you can select this letter in icon, and that'll set up an email that'll go to me, go to everybody. And all the information that was in the meeting ID or meeting calendar meeting will be appended to this, and I can just add a note saying, hey, you know, this is a reminder, or this, you know, we've got a meeting coming up, or whatever you want to do. And that's how I sent out. That's how I sent out these kinds of information. So I tend to, for meeting reminders and things like that, I just use that.
Excuse me, can you go through that once more about how you invite people?
Yeah. Okay. So which part is in the calendar? The calendar event. So for the calendar event, you can just add people over here under the guest information.
No, how to send an email to.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I select the calendar event. And then I select this letter icon.
Where is that?
Up here.
Okay.
You see it?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you select that, it'll bring up this window, and then you can type anything up in here. Whatever you type in the message, that will be at the front. That will show up here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I won't send this.
I know, I think I know what we have to do.
Excuse me, Paul, this is Jennifer. Is there a way to automatically set up reminders, or do you have to send individual ones each time?
You know, I don't know that. That seems like a calendar issue, not really a Zoom.
Paul, I've
Yeah.
seen this. It probably, when you set it up, it's there. When you, not in this one, but as in the Zoom host thing, I think it is there. Add notification.
Where do you see?
Below the link that you have pasted.
Oh,
Below.
yeah, there it is. I think this is sending out the email. That's just a notification that your meeting's about to start in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
No,
But
but
you
Paul,
can change it.
yeah, you can change that. So if you click on minutes, it can become hours or days.
Yeah.
If you click on the numbers, you can have it any number you want before that, 3 days before, 5 days before. And then under notification, it can either be an email or a notification, which I'm not quite sure. I think the notification is what pops up at the bottom of people's screens. And the
Oh,
email probably goes to their email.
oh yeah. Yeah.
But you can set up multiple ones. So I set up 3. I set up one that's maybe 5 days out, one that's 2 days out, and then one that's 15 minutes ahead of time. The 15 minutes is notification, the other 2 are emails.
Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah. So that's a function of the calendar, not of Zoom.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So does everyone see that? Learn something new.
Mhm.
I tend to send them out myself because I customize what I'm saying each time, but this is very helpful. All right. So one thing to note is that if you decide I don't want this meeting, so I'm going to delete it, you can go ahead and delete it from your calendar.
Hmm.
But just know that where is that? Oh, sorry, just trash it. I'll send cancellation to everyone. But that only removes it from the calendar. The Zoom meeting still exists. So you need to go to Zoom. And I've already logged, if I'm still logged in, I've already logged in here as Zoom host. So you need to go to Zoom, find your meeting you just created. There may be an easier way to do this. I tend to just jump around until I find it. Sorry, it's moving a little slow here. Probably going to be at the end. Anyhow, I can delete. This
It
close.
looks like they're listed by date, Paul.
Well, they seem to show. Okay, so it should be there.
I thought we saw it on page 3,
Okay, thanks.
but
I think I called it test meeting. Isn't
Zoom
that?
training.
No, that's this meeting.
Oh,
Well, I'll find it, delete it later. Just know that you've got to go back and delete it from your Zoom, from the list of Zoom meetings, because it's not really gone. It's not going to hurt anything, except if somebody tries to create a meeting at the same time, but I don't think it'll hurt much. It'll get cleaned up. Okay, so that's that. Is there any questions on any of this?
Yeah, this is Jennifer again. And maybe just I'm new to all this, but how do I get the 350 calendar on my calendar?
I think you need to be invited to, I think if you contact Masada, I believe, I'm trying to remember how that, Jay, do you remember how that happened? I think you need to be invited to be able to use that calendar.
Yeah, I was looking on the calendar page. You can send out invitations, but Masada owns the calendar, so, and she's the expert in this. I would say ask her.
Okay, I'll ask Masada. Thanks.
Anything else? Okay.
Paul,
Yeah,
sorry.
no problem.
And maybe this is getting into the weeds too much. I know there's now this issue of Google Meet, right? Automatically creating another meeting at the same exact time that's a Google Meet meeting if you don't disable that. But I just learned about that today and I forget exactly how to disable, and maybe it's unnecessary to get into that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, Masada sent that email out. I'm not that familiar with it either. I just disabled it based on her email.
Yeah.
So if I can forward that to everyone on here, if you'd like it, but I think she sent it to the group. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen if there's no more questions here. So let me go to the agenda and see what else I was planning to talk about. So Jay covered a lot of these things. Muting on the bottom. So like he said, the host has the ability to mute everyone, keep people from renaming themselves. So we put a list of norms for the host. You can see that if you look at the agenda. I'm on number 12. And so we suggest that the host renames himself, which Jay reminded me to do. Mute yourself if you're not talking. Oh, sorry. These are instructions for the host to give participants if they're not familiar with it. You know, show them how to rename themselves, how to mute themselves. We also, I kind of alluded to it earlier, it's helpful sometimes to use the stack, especially if you have a big group of people. So what we mean by the stack, use the chat and come up with some indication that says, you know, I have a question or I have something to say. You can use the chat and just indicate, you know, by some people use, you know, the little stars, and it should, you know, list who's on the chat list. It at least gives the time too, so you can kind of keep track of who's next. So it's helpful if somebody's paying attention to the chat while the meeting's going on. It's very hard for the host to pay attention to both. But in your meetings, just come up with some method or so people can kind of get in, so their comments or questions can be taken in order. Then Jay mentioned the reactions. So when there's a lot of, as he said, Zoom, you know, focuses on who's ever making the most noise. So if you're trying to take a vote or you're trying to get somebody's attention, and you know everybody happens to be using this Brady Bunch kind of looking situation, you can always use these reactions. You know, a thumbs up, yeah, I'm happy, you know, I agree with what you said, or something like that. It's just when the meetings get big, it's a little harder to start just trying to jump in and interrupting each other. Okay. So one of the other topics I'll talk about now is polling. So the thing to note, I guess I could share. Let me share my screen one more time. Sorry. Come on, go away. So back here, if you notice, here's our Zoom training. This is the class that we're currently in. This is class. This is the meeting we're currently in. So I can select this meeting, and it gives me a bunch of different settings and things I can change and put in by default. The other thing it gives me is the ability to create a poll. And you need to create, as far as we can tell, you need to create these polls before the meeting starts. So you can add new polls or whatnot. We'll just edit. So I created this poll before I logged in, which is why I was a little late. So anyhow, this is just a simple little poll that I came up with. What's your favorite ice cream, blah, blah, and things of that nature. So you can add multiple questions. You can delete these things, add different polls. So throughout your meeting, you can bring one poll up. Maybe you have some discussion, then you bring up another poll. So that's available to you for your meeting. So as the host, I have the ability to ask you, okay, we've gotten this far in the meeting. I have some questions to ask you, so I can, maybe I'm trying to decide if you've been able to understand what I'm talking about. So I can start a poll. You are logged in from an, oh, no, I can't start a poll because I'm not host. Can you start the poll, Phil?
I was able to start it. I don't know why you couldn't, but I could start it.
Oh, go ahead.
I already did. Can you not see it?
I can't see it.
No, yeah, no, but you can't. And Phil, you can't. So this is different for you, Phil, because you're logged in as a host. But everybody else can see it and feel free to fill it out. I see some people are filling it out. So this is one thing you need to be aware. As a host, you don't get to vote, but you get, what your control is to end the poll. Actually, you only have, there's a timer also. There's only, oh no, the timer's going up, sorry. So the one thing that the host can do is end the poll. And I think we've got enough votes. So I just ended it. And now I'm going to share the results. So, so now everybody should be able to see the results from the poll. Sorry, Paul, I'm handing it back to you. You can see you can see this, right?
No, I can't see the results.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so
Neither can Phil.
and neither can Phil, obviously. Okay, sorry. So I guess we're learning things. Yeah, I know the participants. You're all seeing that, so you can see that 33% of the people voted for vanilla, etc. But you got to be aware that some hosts can and can't see these results. And the other control, so the other control I have is stop sharing. So I just clicked on that. Now I'm back to the original poll, and I can either relaunch it, share it again, or I can actually edit. Oh, edit. How can I? No, I clicked on edit, and it sent me back to the Zoom. So I can actually, I guess, add some more. Oh no, it had.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That makes sense to me.
Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna kill it.
Well, actually, Jay, I can't see breakout rooms either.
No, I don't have breakout rooms on mine. Phil, can you see breakout rooms? You're the host. Phil should probably have that.
I do.
And the icons on the bottom?
Yeah, I've clicked on it. So I can assign 15 participants into rooms. So let's just do.
Well, don't do
it?
Just do it.
Phil, tell us what you're doing.
Yeah, tell people what all the options are because if you do
Where
it,
are you?
we're all going to disappear into these rooms.
So I won't do it. But so could I share my screen and then they could see this popping up?
Fortunately not.
No.
Zoom doesn't let you, the host, share theirs. When you try to share your screens, just goes away.
Okay. All right. I won't try that. So it just says it's a little dialog box, create breakout rooms. And
Where is this?
So only I can see this because I'm the sort of most official host for some reason, simply because I don't know why. I have no idea why.
Logged on first.
Because you were the one that joined the meeting first, logged into as Zoom host.
Okay, there it is. Okay, so
Phil, can you describe where we would be looking for this?
Well, so when I clicked on breakout rooms, which is at the very bottom, to second from the far right, reactions and then breakout rooms, this popped up in the middle, and I can move it around. But anyway, and it says create breakout rooms, assign 15 participants into blank rooms. So I can change the number to 5, and then it says automatically or manually. Right now, automatically selected. That's 3 participants through room. The math is correct. And then if I click create rooms, which I'm not supposed to do yet, then we would all divide up. So Jay, do you want me to do that or no?
No, but there is other options. There's an option to do it automatically, or you can do it by assigning
Okay,
people.
so let me click it manually. If I go manually, it clicked to manual, but nothing's happened. Maybe if I create rooms, then I have the option.
Well,
I don't know, but it hasn't really changed much. It just says manually.
Well, I think you also have the options of setting up the breakout rooms with participants beforehand, before even the meeting, is what I was told. But I didn't do that.
Well, when we were testing, I was able to do it during the meeting, and I'm not sure, I'm not seeing it. So that, but maybe you have to say how many rooms you want, but you'll get a scrolling window with all the participants, and you just click on the ones you want to assign for which room. So it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. So
Scott's
It's
got
probably straightforward, but I probably do have to click on create rooms because at this point I've selected 5 rooms manually, 3 participants through rooms is telling me, and then that's all it's saying.
Yeah.
I'm not getting any list of people. I'm not able to assign people to specific rooms. But my guess is if I create rooms, then I get a whole pop-up menu of everybody and I can do it manually. I don't know.
Okay. Scott has a question.
Yeah, and it's pretty specific. So tomorrow, Amanda is going to be the host, and I'm wondering if it's possible for her to assign herself into one of those rooms and then come back out of that room and into the rooms for everyone so that the whole group comes back together again.
Yeah, so so the host, in this case, I think it's just Phil. I'm not sure if the co-host can do it, but the host can actually bounce around from room to room. So once the host starts the breakouts, the host can actually select a room and go into that room. And when they're in that room, they can leave the room, which puts them back out to the more general thing. So the host can move around and the host can end the breakouts. So the host has a lot of control and a lot of flexibility. And the host can also move people. You can move people from one room to another. So, I mean, there's a lot of options and permutations here, but there's a lot of control.
Okay.
I believe, Phil, I think you have to create the room, go into the room and invite.
You're muted, Phil.
Sorry. Yeah, Jay hasn't given me permission to do that, so because it would interrupt our thing here. I can try it. He's thinking about it.
It's already getting close to 5:30. I mean, the trouble is with breakout rooms is we all disappear, so we can't hear each other until we come back. So
Jay, you don't want to stay on this meeting till 6:30?
Susan's got a question.
Thanks. I'm just curious, can the host join a breakout room as a spy and not be seen by the other people, or are they always showing up?
I don't know, but I've never seen that option. So
yeah, I kind of doubt that.
Yeah, too bad. I mean, no.
Too bad.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Thank you.
Well, so we've got like 4 more minutes. I hope this was somewhat useful.
Quite.
Yes, thank you so much.
It was very useful.
Hey, maybe we can adjourn early.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jay and Paul.
Can I just ask everybody a real quick question? Our internet connection is such that in every Zoom meeting, no matter whether it's an hour, well, they're almost always an hour. It's interrupted at about, I don't know, 20 minutes in, who knows what. And then everything stops except me. And then I get a dialog box saying your internet connection is unstable. Are other people getting the same thing, or is this just a problem for me?
I have seen that message.
I've had it happen twice.
Oh, I get that constantly. That's why I don't put my video on. It's worse when I have my video on.
Oh.
I got a message saying I'm unstable. I don't know if that's the same thing. Elaine put that in the chat.
Oh, by the way, if you have your own Zoom app loaded on your machine, you can log into these meetings, these Zoom meetings that way. You also have the option of putting a profile picture on that. So that when your video is off, see what Scott's done. So at least I'm talking to that guy. It could be he could have put some random picture there, but yeah.
Where do you find the profile picture, or how do you put the profile picture on?
So you'd have to load the Zoom app onto your machine, your computer at home, and then go into that application and go into profile, and you'll be able to put in a picture. Okay? And then use that app, then use that Zoom app on your computer to join these meetings, and you'll get that.
Under preferences, there's a tab for profile, and then you click on the little icon to upload a picture.
I just find it's kind of nice, even if it's just a picture, just, it's not the real, live, but it's kind of nice to look at somebody. All right, any last minute questions?
Thank you. Nice work.
You're
Yeah.
very welcome.
Really?
So,
Yeah, thank
Phil,
you.
don't,
Really?
Phil, don't leave yet. Paul,
Thank you so much.
Paul, stop your recording.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.